Okay, sorry about that. My computer froze for a minute. So I'll bring the animations in here. I'll show you something important also. So if I look for those files that downloaded in the desktop, Stocky, the first thing I want to bring in is the character with the bones. So I just named mine Stocky. You can name it rigged if you had before you uploaded it to Mixamo, you had a name. You can rename it rigged so you can tell the difference which one's after Mixamo. So I'm gonna bring it in. And in here you have to pay attention to the skeletal mesh. The skeletal mesh is what brings the bones. You want to tell it, this is a skeletal mesh. So if you click on skeletal mesh in here, for soul meshes as type, right now it says none. We want to say not static mesh, but skeletal mesh. And I think that's pretty much it for this. So we'll say import. And if you did it right, it will show you 3 icons: the skeletal mesh, animation sequence, skeleton. It should be generating also physics assets. I don't know why it didn't do that. But anyway, we'll keep moving. On the bottom here, we'll tell you if anything is unsaved. I just imported this, so I'll say save them. I'm also going to bring the animations, and now that I have the skeleton in here first, I can bring the animations. So we'll say import to current folder. I'll grab all the animations and I'll tell it to which bones they go. So if you go back to skeletal mesh, the skeleton should be already selected. So it is selected in here, you can see it. So now that it's selected, you can say, okay, those animations go with those bones, let's bring them in. So there they go. And you can actually, let me save again. You can actually test them. So you can put one on the level here. And if you hit play, where's my character start? Oh, it's right there. So if I hit play, I should see my animations playing, right? Oh, I had all of them selected instead of just the one. So the idea is that we are going to combine them now. So let me just delete them from there. Let's say force delete. So they, oh crap, I deleted them from the folder too. Let me bring them back in. Mistake. I didn't realize I had them selected on the folder. So again, I guess it'll be good for you to see this again. Skeletal mesh, make sure your skeleton is selected. There is another skeleton in there. There might be other ones, so you gotta make sure it's yours. So we'll say import. There they go. Save them. And my characters, it does this for some reason. Sometimes Mixamo brings them the wrong way, but that's okay. We can fix it later. So this, what we're doing now, is for a game right now. This will not be, we won't use the third person character, so this player start really was just to explore the level you build. We're going to do a movie, so in Unreal it's called a sequence. So we need to put the sequence in here, and we need to add actors to the sequence. So right now, let me see if I can deselect these guys from here, so I don't delete them from the folder by accident. So I'm just gonna delete them here, and just leave the stocky character. That's the stop walking animation. I can tell right here. I just need the stocky character in here, so I'm just gonna make it go up like this. And then we're going to hit F to frame it. We'll pretend this is our, let me just delete some of the stuff here. We'll pretend this is our angle camera shot. I'm just gonna keep it simple so you can see what's happening. So the first thing I need is to add that movie sequence. So if you look up here, there's a movie slate. We'll say add level sequence. It's going to ask you where to save them. I'm gonna put it on the same folder that I just made. You can name your sequence. We'll call it talking sequence and say save. Now you're going to see that Unreal opened the sequence down here, but there's nothing on it. so nothing will show up on the movie. So we have to add our character on it first. So if you select it and then hit the add sign in here, you can say add actor track, and here's my character Stocky. So I'm gonna add it. Now, because we imported those animations corresponding to those bones, we will also have the animations in here under the animation track. So if I click on the plus sign, here's my walking animation, so I can add it. And you can see it has the clip there. I guess I have to flip it around too. So let me select it and flip it 90 degrees. So when I stop it, it goes back to being flat on the ground. I need also the stop walking. So select it, put it right there. So there's the stop walking. So as you can see, they're kind of flipping. You probably saw some of that on the clips the other students made. And well, let's just put the other one right away. So we'll put talking. So there's talking. I put it on the same channel than walking. What you do want to do is make sure you have enough frames. So again, the animation doesn't have to be too long, but it doesn't have to be so short that if I sneeze, I'll miss it, right? So maybe 5 to 10 seconds, somewhere around there. So if you need more frames, we'll say we'll need 400 frames. And you know, this expands the animation. This is like the zoom in into the timeline. So if I drag this, I'll be zooming out and I can see the whole timeline now and make my animation last longer. So what we want is to put all the animation clips on the same channel, because what Unreal will do is it knows the bones are in there. So if you overlap the clips, it will try to in between or interpolate between the position of the bones. So see, it's trying to do this. See, it's interpolating, but it's kind of sliding. It's saying, oh, I need to kind of in between the position of the bones, but that clip starts way back here, so I gotta go back. So let me bring it back separate in here, and I'm going to tell it, I'm just gonna pay attention to where the bones are. So the last bone on the floor is, it looks like it's the right foot, right? Yeah, it's the right foot. So if I tell this clip to match the right foot when it starts, so if you right click on it and say match with previous clip, and I have to look for the right foot in here. There it is, right foot. Now it's gonna try to match. See, it's trying to match the position of the bone. So you can see how is the foot staying put, but now there's a kind of a cut there on the shoulder. That's because it's matching the position of the bones, but it's not interpolating anything else. So now if I overlap it, it'll in between a little bit smoother. So, and you don't have to play with this. See, you can almost not tell that there was a transition there from one clip to the other. So you just overlap it a little bit. You can see kind of how the overlapping is happening here. So it's interpolating from here to there. We'll do the same to the talking clip. So the talking clip, let's bring it close here. So again, it jumps back. So we'll have to tell it to match. I think the right foot is probably a good anchor point. Sometimes you have to use the hips to match. I'll just use the foot in this place and this time because the character's standing. And usually you tend to put your weight on one of the feet. So we'll say right foot again. So there we go. It's staying in place. Now we just need to overlap it a bit so it interpolates between the two clips. See, that's a little better. Right? Yeah, a lot better. Okay, so let's say you come up with your whole animation. Let me clip it here at the end of it so it's not going forever. Um, now that you have your animation, you will be the director. So again, your job as a director is to enforce two things: character relationships and the story beats, right? So what's happening on the story and what's the relationships of characters. So um, usually close-ups and medium shots, like over the shoulder shots, those are usually more for a relationship, like people talking, like talking, reaction, and back to the other character. Story beats can have the the longer shots, right? That shows us the scene. The camera size is bigger, so um, those are good shots to use your composition grids. So if you remember, we talked about then how composition grids are used on cinema. So there's the rule of thirds, there's the golden mean, uh, shapes on the screen. There's triangles, so from corner to corner you line up your things to corner to corner. There is perspective or a vanishing point on the middle to bring us into the scene. You know, there's so many composition grids you can use. If you look for them in Google, you'll see a bunch of them. There's also the shape one, so you make a circle with the objects on the scene, or a triangle with the characters. You know, so those type of grids are good for big camera sizes. I guess you can use them too when you're using close-ups. It's just a little more difficult. Usually you're just seeing a character talking to each other, or close-ups. So your job is to support that the story beats and the relationship between characters. In this case, you're going to be the director, so you're going to add a camera in here and put it where you want it, what you want us to look at. So in this case, we're just looking at the whole scene and the characters talking, right? Let's say you want us to start with a establishing shot, so you are going to add a camera, and you can add it up here and say where are the cameras? Right there, cinematic, cine camera actor. So you just add the camera in there. You just have to position it now, kind of where you want it to be. So there's our character. Let's say we start with a long shot here. So gonna rotate the camera here and kind of position it where I think it should be, so we see the character walking into the screen. Whoops. Well, I really jumped. It's moving the wrong way for some reason. Let me undo that. There we go. Okay, so let's say it's a long shot of the camera and the character coming in, and I'm just gonna play this to see what it looks like. So I'm a little off. Yeah, I'm a little off, so I'm going to move the camera more. Hit W to move it, and drag on the timeline here to see if I can see it coming in. Oh, where did my walk go? I guess I'm not looking at it. There it is. There's the walk. Starts from frame 1. The character closes in. I guess I gotta be a little higher. In my composition, the camera will have the same things that we talked about cameras before. So it will have focal length and every setting that a camera has, if you look at the details in here. So right now it's set to 35. So if you remember, below 35 is a wide angle, so kind of like a fisheye lens. If it's a bigger number, like 200 or something like that, it's kind of like a telescope. Let's say 50 is probably a good number. We need to adjust the focus here. Let me just move this up. Where's the separation here? To adjust the focus distance. Super finicky. You have this that lets you pick something to zoom into. This little color picker. I picked the characters as focus on it in here. It kind of goes out of focus and then it comes into focus right here. It seems like I still need to go a bit farther back. Other way. And you know, I could have another camera in here. So we'll add another camera. The thing is, the cameras are not on my sequencer. So what I need to do is add them just like I added the actor. I need to add anything that I want to animate. So if you have a light, let's say this light, and you want it to animate it, you have to add it as an actor. And then it will be part of your sequencer or your clip. But in this case, let's add this camera first, because that's more important. So we'll say add actor track, actor cinema, camera actor. And there's my camera. You'll see it added the camera track and also a camera cuts. And this is pretty important. You'll see why here in a minute. So let's say I wanted to switch to another angle in here. So it's coming in like on the big camera size. Now I need to do a close up when the character's talking. So I'm going to add another camera here. Cinematic camera actor. And I'm gonna name this one so I can tell them apart. I'm gonna call it edit, rename. I'm gonna call it close up camera. And I'm also going to add it here to my sequencer. So I'm going to say add actor track, close up camera. So now I have two cameras in here, right? And you will be looking for through the camera that's selected, that this button's turned on. So right now I'm looking through the close-up camera. Now I'm going back to the main camera I put first. So I'm going to select my close-up camera and kind of position it. Let's see if I can get it here on the right spot. Let's do a side view. Something like this. Something like that. Let's see if I can adjust the focus is not quite there. There it is. Okay, so I might need some fiddling this with the focus, but for now we'll leave it like this. So now it looks like I'm always stuck with this camera, but that's not how it goes. You actually, on the camera cuts, you pick which, and I'm gonna turn it on. You pick which camera you're looking through. So this is where you direct your cuts. So we'll start with the establishing shot. And let's say about here, we'll switch to the other camera. So we'll click on the plus sign and we'll say close-up cam. So now it starts with the establishing shot and then it goes to the close-up. So you can add more cameras in here. You just keep adding them from the list here on the camera cuts, and then you will be directing your movie pretty fast, right? So it's pretty simple. You just create a camera on the scene, you just add it through here, cinematic, cine camera actor. Then when you have the camera position on the scene, you add it in here, and on the camera cuts, it will let you select which camera you're looking at which point on the timeline. So for now, I think you have plenty to get working and creating your animation and being the director. So again, remember lighting, That will help a lot. So if you wanted to have lighting in here, like the character's pretty much in the dark here, let's say we add that, and you're, if you want to, you can go back to looking through the perspective here. It's not letting me. But let's say we wanted to add that light that's on the scene. So I had to unlock the view here with this button. If you turn it off, you know, I'm back to my perspective. Where's that light I saw in here? There it is. So let's say I wanted to add this light. I'm gonna put it over here. Maybe rotate it a bit. Maybe change the color. A little bit bluish and not so bright. So I'll go intensity, maybe a little bit less. Just enough to illuminate my character. Let's see. Okay, there. Let me just move it too. Okay, so if you wanted to animate this light, you would have to add it to your sequencer too. So we'll say add actor track. There's the spotlight. Now my spotlight is part of the sequence, and I can animate it. Let's say I can, if you look in here on the sequencer, there's properties to the light, there's intensity. So I can put a keyframe, then move a little bit in time, maybe make it brighter. Right, so now that's part of my sequence. Right, so anything you want to animate on the sequence, you have to add to the sequencer itself. So there it is. The character walks into the light. The lights get brighter, and this start talking. I'll show you in the next video how to render the sequence. You know, usually you do it through here. You click in here, and you can pick the format, the frame rate, the size of the movie, and right here where it's saving to. A lot of the times it doesn't give you a clean render, so I'm gonna make a video afterwards to show you how to make a clean render. But you will click capture movie and it would render. If you have a good video card, it will do it. If the video card is so-so, it's gonna make you a noisy movie, which you don't want. So I'll show you in the next video how to fix it if this doesn't work.